Okay, let's see here. Mrs. Bovey, would you read? Oh, we're going to jump down here to Yishtabach Shimcha. Would you read that one?
May Yahweh be praised forever, our King. Unto you we offer blessings and thanksgiving from this time and forever. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, King, exalted through praises, Yahweh of thanksgiving, Master of wonders, who chooses musical songs of praise, King, El Shaddai, giver of life to the world.
Now, why would I choose this from the morning blessings? Because if you look at it, what did we do a little bit earlier? He chooses musical songs of praise. And who are his songs? But all of his people. I mean, we are his living testament. And so if we open our mouths that he has given us, out come praises. And I'm glad that he has chosen us as his instruments. All right. Oh, all right. There we go. Enough liturgy for the moment. Va'era. Now, there is a Torah portion called Vayera. This is different. This is Va'era. Okay? You all say that? Va'era. Good. And what month is it, Josiah Olson? Okay, good. Well done. All right. We had a song when we were kids. 39 books in the Old Testament, each one a special part. 27 books in the New Testament. Okay, you got it. Anyway, so what does David like to do? I always like, this is a killer. You're going to love this. Unfortunately, poor Zechariah, who's not here at the moment, I would end up giving him his math lesson sometimes. And instead of just going straight into the lesson, I would look at the title. And I would say, okay, what does the title tell us? Oh, Dad. Yeah, or maybe it was Benjamin. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. I was warming up on you. I perfected it on Zechariah. And he was like, can we just get on with the lesson? But to me, the whole thing was the title gives it away. It tells you what you need to know in preparation into going into it. Tunnel of Doom is the name of a ride. It tells me I'm not getting on that one. Okay, so what I like to do is kind of go from big picture down to where we are. That gives us context, okay? This is Torah. This is all of the word. Here's your Tanakh, and here's what do we call this over here? Brit Hadashah, which means New Covenant, or Apostolic Writings, I like to call it as well. But here's your word. And that's what we're studying today, class. And then here is the breakdown of the Tanakh and how we get that word Tanakh. John, how do we get that word Tanakh?
I don't understand the graphic.
Right, yes. It is a little unclear. It's probably my accent. That's all right. The To comes from Torah, the N comes from Nevi'im, and the K comes from Ketuvim. Kotev means to write, so that's where you get the writings, prophets. What's that? An acronym, right, of sort, yes. So in the Im, of course, stands for S in English. So this is our breakdown, and when we talk about Torah, we're talking about the first 5 books, which is also called the what? Pentateuch, because pentagon, pentagram, penta means 5. Yes. Okay, so we're narrowing it down. What's the next one? Okay, if we went from the whole Bible, and we're in Va'era, and then we went to the Tanakh, what's next? What's my next level down? Right, the book of Exodus. Yes, people. This is how I like to look at it, okay? Other people have broken it down different ways, but there are some things that are in my head, and I hope are in your head, or you will get in your head very quickly, because it's a good way to remember. If you say, well, it's in the Bible, and the skeptic says to you, where is it in the Bible? Show me. Deer in the headlights. Let's try not to have the deer in the headlights. We know that chapter 15 is Miriam's song. Right in, okay, it's not in the middle, but it's close to the middle, right? And then 1920, dead middle, is foot of Mount Sinai and the pronouncements, the 10 Commandments, right? Big stuff. Okay, so if we could just remember that, we know it's going to start off with the Pharaoh who couldn't remember, didn't know Joseph, right? And then, of course, Moses. Moses grows up. Moses kills a guy. Moses runs away. Moses meets a burning bush. And then we come back, and what's the first thing we have? Well, of course, chapter 12 is extremely important to us, too, because that's where we first lay out the Pesach. And when people go, well, how do you know Exodus 12? That's where we start, okay? And then 14, 15, they're at the Red Sea. What are we going to do? Well, put up your staff, and we go through, and Pharaoh is no more. Then we sing the song. Then we come to Mount Sinai, and he gives us, this is where Moses does the aerobics, up and down, up and down. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And then the thunder and lightning, and people are, yes, yes. Okay. Now, I can't believe it. Do you see my mistake? Oh, jeez. What's my mistake, Tim?
We need a 21.
Yes. Just pretend that 25 is a 1. That's a 21 through 31. This is instructions on how to live, but primarily on how to build the tabernacle. Okay? Everybody, we know that because the next terrible thing is the golden calf incident, and then the whole rest of the book is people need to repent, be remorseful, reestablish the covenant, now build that thing. And so when they're done, when they build it, the presence fills the tabernacle, and they can't even be in it because his presence is so intense. Hallelujah. So if you don't remember anything else, chapter 15 is what? Miriam's song. What's that? I will sing unto Yahweh, for he has triumphed gloriously. Yes, that's it. 19, 20 commandments, 32. You may not remember that, but 32 is that terrible thing. Okay. Don't you do that terrible thing. Now I've taken my list that I like, and I still have missing. I can't believe that. And now here are the parshot as they are broken out, okay? So you can kind of see, give yourself a little picture. Will I make the speaker squeak if I sit out here for a moment? Okay, hopefully not. Okay, but you notice that all of that business here is in the very first Torah portion of this book. The Sidra, actually, if you want to get technical, Parsha actually means a passage. Sidra is more like portion, but it doesn't matter. We all call it Parsha, don't we? Okay, so all those three are in there, and then, okay, so where are we now? We're in Va'era, thank you. Thanks for correcting me. Is this all the way into here? Oh, so it's breaking that business up. Okay, so anybody want to take a stab and just go down the list and pronounce those? Ron, go ahead. Give it to me, brother. This list here. Just pretend that it says begat in front of it. And Parshot begat Shmot. And Shmot begat Va'era. And Va'era begat Bo, Beshalach, Yitro. Well, Yitro. Oh, I was going to say, what does Yitro mean? But I guess I kind of gave it away, didn't I? Okay, let's move on. All right, back to liturgy. Before we get into the word, what do? You give the blessing of the Torah. This is a Jewish concept of before you do something, a mitzvah, a love deed, you proclaim his goodness in it, that you're not just doing something willy-nilly, but it's a purposeful and a good thing, and it brings benefit and blessing into creation. Let's say it all together. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who has chosen us from all peoples and has given us his Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. Amen. We are now beginning the reading. This is the very first section. You can read it from your scriptures, but I will tell you what we're going to do. We're going to read pieces of chapter 6, and then I'm going to ask readers to take each plague, one reader per plague, and we will actually break that down in a little different direction. Oh, good. She's brought the librarian. All right. Would anyone like to read this? It's a lot, I realize. Okay.
God spoke further to Moses and said to him, I am Yahweh. And I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but by my name Yahweh I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land in which they lived as strangers. Furthermore, I have heard the groaning of the sons of Israel, because the Egyptians are holding them in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Say therefore to the sons of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the labors of the Egyptians, and I will rescue you from their bondage. I will also redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. Then I will take you as my people, and I will be your God, and you shall know that I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out from under the labors of the Egyptians. I will bring you to the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you as a possession. I am Yahweh.
You know, we could just look at this passage and stop for the day. And everybody goes, yay, David's going to stop. No, we're going to go through the whole thing. But there's a lot in here, and I just love it. I really do love it. I'm going to break it down into 4 parts. But first, a word from our sponsors. Actually, a word from Tony Robinson. Anybody familiar with restorationoftorah.org? Right. This is amazing. And he gives very good explanation in there. Thanks for catching those. I think it was another few slides before I even said, oh, yeah, I need to fix those. I appeared to Abraham as El Shaddai, but by my name Yahweh, I did not make myself known to them. Anybody ever have a question about that or a discussion with somebody about that? Okay, I'm the only one, but that's all right. Now it's in your head. Wow, I wonder what's the difference, because we know. Here's the difference. If we look at it, El Shaddai and Yahweh. You can read that passage, that verse, Exodus 6, verse 3, with either I appeared or I made myself known. But the whole idea is that those two ideas are kind of interchangeable in Hebrew. So when he says, I appeared, he's not saying, look at my name tag. I've got a new name tag on now. But you had that name tag back there. Well, yes, I did. But what he's saying is I made myself known, how I manifested myself. Because when you look at Genesis 15, this is where Yahweh's breaking a covenant with Abraham. He's talking about the land. See what, I mean, you can read it for yourself, but you see what happens here, how consistent that is? When Yahweh is talking to Abraham and to Jacob, and he's talking about the land, he uses the word Yahweh, the name. When he's talking about the proliferation or the offspring getting bigger and bigger, what does he do? He uses El Shaddai. Okay? Tell me, where is the first time Yahweh says to anybody, take off your shoes for you're standing on holy ground? You can't answer this. And where's Moses? In front of the... Right. Did he ever say that to Abraham? No. So you might say in some ways it's a manifestation. Yahweh revealed himself in the capacity this way. Apparently he didn't reveal himself in that capacity, even though maybe he used that name, Yahweh, or Yahuwah, or how you wish to pronounce it, however ultimately he has it pronounced. And even the patriarch calls him by that name at one point. But the point is this, that he's got a name connected with one or the other. And when we go forward throughout the book of Exodus, as they're coming to Mount Sinai, and Leviticus and Numbers as they're wandering around the desert, what is their whole goal? Their whole point is to move toward the promised land. What about them becoming a big nation? They're already a big nation. Okay, they went from 70 to a couple million in Egypt. So we got that covered. Okay, so now we're going back. So isn't that sort of a neat explanation? And with this, I have two really exciting revelations to me. And it is this. Could you imagine, picture the humor, if the children of Israel sitting at the foot of Mount Sinai looked at their kids and said, oh, you know the God we used to serve, El Shaddai? Yeah, he was the God of the old, well, we don't have testaments yet, of the patriarchs. Yeah, but now we've got a new God. He's kinder. He's given us the Torah. We like to follow him. So, yes, there's El Shaddai, but we worship and we pray to Yahweh. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do we have this happening today a little bit? Ultimately, what I'm saying is he's showing himself to say, I manifested or I revealed myself this way, here, and it's greater. I change not. I don't change. I'm the same Elohim, and I have the same plan since day one and before, although you can't comprehend that. Okay? Isn't that great? Okay. All right. This is my breakdown of those parts that Amy read. Amy's your name. He starts off by saying who he is. Moses already knows that. I'm the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the past. I have heard their cries, and I remembered my promises, my covenant. That's right now to Moses. And then he gives the 4 I wills that we say at the Seder, right? And so what is he saying? I got it covered yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm the same one. And so when we think of the Passover meal in this song, Dayenu, can anybody remind me of, give me a verse that we sing in the song Dayenu? If you'd only given us manna, it would have been enough. If you'd only brought us out of Egypt, it would have been enough. The Torah. Yeah. If you'd only filled us with the Holy Spirit, that by itself would have been enough. If he'd only given us Yeshua. But the whole point is, he says, I will take you out from Egypt. It's not enough. This is the greatest message. It's not enough to just come out of Egypt because we still have Egypt in us, and Egypt has a claim on us. And it's manifesting in the family traits of iniquity. He wants to break us of that. He wants us to be totally free. Then he says, I will redeem you with an outstretched arm. I'm going to make a show of the enemy openly, a mockery, and I will make you a new person. And ultimately, I forgot the third one. Ultimately, he says, I will be your Elohim and you will be my people. That's what? That's the betrothal. That's everything. Isn't it? Yes. All right, moving on. Make the connection, so I wrapped them up. Okay, this is in regard to today. And I read this to Ben, and Ben says, what's despondency? Oh, yeah, that's a good question, Ben. It's the heaviness. It's the disheartened. Here it is broken down in Blue Letter Bible. But they did not hearken. Everybody see that word, hearken? What's that word? Where do we know Shema from? Hear, O Israel. It's the same root word, but the root word can be broken out to mean heed. Pay careful attention to. They didn't do this to Moses. Why not? Because of anguish of spirit and of cruel bondage. That's two things. Anguish of spirit is not seen, not physical. Cruel bondage is physical. A person can be imprisoned in one or the other or both, and Israel had it bad. Okay, so if we are told he has already paved the way for us, he's already forgiven our sins, all you have to do is accept by faith. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I did too many bad things in my life. It could be that maybe you're too much in bondage, either in spirit or physically, or both. We need to come out. And we can, because he's a waymaker. Let's not forget that when we go to work with people that have no place for faith in their lives. This I simply circled the part up there that is down here. Shamuel Moshe. So they didn't listen to Moses. Mekotzer. Me is from. So you basically coming from the anguish, or in the midst of anguish. So they didn't listen to him because of anguish. Ruach. What's ruach? Yes, there we go. And the other one. Here's the next section. We're going to read it a little bit. I call it the disjointed series because Moses gives an excuse. He says, wait a minute, we've already passed that. He was at the burning bush back in Midian. Now he's back in the land. We're already in chapter 6. He's already talked to the people a little bit. And he's talked to Moses or Pharaoh, and Pharaoh said, I'm not buying it. I don't know this Yahweh. Now go find your own straw. Moses comes back with the excuse, I'm poor of tongue. And so what's the next thing that happens? He goes down the lineage, he's saying these are the families. And he goes, everybody turn there real quick. Exodus 6. So verse 10, Yahweh spoke to Moses saying, go speak to Pharaoh. And Moses spoke to Yahweh, the children of Israel have not heeded me. How then will Pharaoh heed me? For I am uncircumcised lips. That's a study on its own, but we won't go there right now. Then Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, gave them command. And it goes down, verse 14, these are the heads of their fathers' houses, sons of Reuben. So who was Reuben? He was the firstborn. These are the sons of Simeon. That's verse 15. Who is he? He was next. And verse 16, these are the sons of Levi. He was next. But it doesn't go through the rest of the 12. It goes through Levi's sons so that it can get back to Aaron and Moses. And so basically Yahweh's saying, okay, I've got these people in line. Oh, it comes back to you guys. I'm sorry. I don't care if you have uncircumcised lips. I've designated you to do the job. Now go do it. Okay? So the last verse in verse 60, chapter 6. But Moses said before Yahweh, behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh heed me? So then chapter 7 goes into something that I studied. Probably, Dennis, what did I just do? Dennis, you probably hit this too in your college studies. What exactly is a prophet? Well, when we look at the passage of Exodus 7, it shows us that Yahweh is going to speak to Moses, and Moses is going to speak to Aaron, and Aaron will speak to the people. And so Aaron is a prophet for Moses, and Moses is a prophet to Aaron. Okay. But what I want to point out there is this verse right here. When Pharaoh does not listen to you, I will lay my hand on Egypt and bring out my armies, my people, the sons of Israel, from the land of Egypt by great judgments. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh. Why make the Egyptians know when Israel is already struggling to know, when Israel is already broken down a spirit and in severe physical bondage? It will give them encouragement like at the walls of Jericho. Any other reason? Well, let's go back to Jonathan's. Keep that in mind. He's going to let the Egyptians know. I really like that because when we look at these plagues, that will come out. First challenge.
David?
Yes.
I remember reading Rashi's opinions on these. It's kind of an interesting point as well. Because remember we talked about the first verse where he says, to these fathers I showed myself as El Shaddai, but I have not revealed to them who I am as Yahweh. And he's like, if you understand Yahweh, because like what you said, you tied the name to the land, it's because of the covenant. So he said Yahweh is a covenant-keeping God. And like he said, you just point out here, now he is showing the Egyptians that he is Yahweh, but he has not revealed Yahweh to the fathers yet. So the Egyptians are learning that God is a covenant-keeping God to his people.
Amen. And I take that and I still think of Moses' words at the end of Deuteronomy where he says, there's one coming, a prophet greater than me, listen to him. And Yeshua says, I have sheep of other flocks that you don't know about. I have hope for myself there. This word serpent is the word tanim. Tanin, everybody say tanin. You'll need to know that because it can mean serpent, sea monster, or dragon. Ever seen a dragon, Hadassah? I haven't either, at least not lately. But it could be that the staff that Moses and Aaron had in their hand that they put down was a bigger serpent, like maybe some sort of sea monster. She's not buying it. Okay. We're going to move forward. Okay, here's the breakdown of the rest of the Torah portion. We're going to go through parts of it, but here's the order, right? Notice that the first three, at least according to Ryrie, according to Ryrie, Israel was not exempt. They got to experience frogs in their ovens and in their beds, and the swarms of lice or gnats as well. It wasn't until here that something different happened. Now, this is also from my Ryrie Commentary Bible. You notice I didn't put the names of the gods in there because I didn't think it was necessary. Besides, what does he tell us at one point? How are these gods worshipped back in the day? We don't care. We don't want to know. I mean, there are some things that we see threads running through all of history. Blot out Amalek every chance you get. But the whole point is every single one of these plagues was a finger in the eye of Pharaoh and the Egyptian gods, you might say. Isn't that interesting? All right, let us switch. This is where I need a dedicated person for blood. The blood. Good. And you won't have to read the whole thing. We're not having to read the entire. All right. Yes, cattle disease. In case the camera didn't catch that, the comment says the man who's selling ground beef next week. Grass-fed. Is that grass-fed because when he hit the ground, he was... All right. What do we have left? We have hail. And who wants hail? Oh, we got hail. We have flies. Who wants flies? Melody, thank you. And Seth, what do we have left? Lice. Oh, Seth, you get the lice. Thank you. Okay, so each of you wonderful people, go to your respective place there. And all we are going to do is we're going to read the first couple of lines and find out exactly how the setup came. How is it that Yahweh said, okay, here are your instructions, and what Moses did or didn't do, okay? And we'll go down all of those first, and then we will go down what happens next. So we get a picture of comparison and contrast, okay? All right, so let's start with blood. Mr. Schwartz, I'm just going to have you read like the first verse or two. You will set the standard here. Let me get to that spot and help you.
Okay. So Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning when he goes out to the water, and you shall stand by the river's bank to meet him, and the rod which was turned to a serpent you shall take in your hand, and you shall say to him, Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews has sent me to you, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. But indeed, until now you would not hear. Thus says Yahweh, by this you shall know that I am Yahweh. Behold, I will strike the waters which are in the river with the rod that is in the hand, and they shall be turned to blood.
Yeah, skip the next verse and go down to 20.
And Moshe and Aaron did so, just as Yahweh commanded. So he lifted up the rod and struck the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants.
Okay, that's good. Hold right there, and then go to verse 20. Oh no, never mind. Hold right there. All right. So what can we summarize? Basically, he told Moses to go to Pharaoh, and he told Pharaoh what was going to happen, didn't he? And then he did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Frogs.
And Yahweh spoke to Moses, Go to Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says Yahweh, Let my people go, that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all your territory with frogs. So the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into your house, into your bedroom, on your bed, into the houses of your servants, on your people, into your ovens, and into your kneading bowls. And the frogs shall come up on you, on your people, and on all your servants.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Then Yahweh spoke to Moses, Say to Aaron,
Okay, jump over to verse 6.
So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt.
Good. So, did he give Pharaoh a heads up? Pretty clear, pretty detailed, actually, right? Okay. So the next one is swarms. Who has swarm? Oh, Seth. You're going to start in 8 verse 16, and let me interrupt you. Go ahead.
The Lord said to Moses, Tell Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust out of the earth. Strike the dust of the earth, that it may become lice throughout all the land
Keep going. That's good.
of Egypt. They did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth. And there were lice on man and on animal.
Good. Hold right there. All right, so what's different about this one?
No warning.
No warning.
Did it.
He just did it. Whew. Okay. Flies. Who's got flies?
Then the Lord said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning and present yourself to Pharaoh as he goes out to the water, and say to him, Thus says the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies on you and your servants and your people, and into your houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be filled with swarms of flies, and also the ground on which they stand.
Okay, jump up to verse 24 and read that one.
And the Lord did so. Then there came great swarms of flies into the house of Pharaoh and into his servants' houses. Throughout all the land of Egypt, the land was ruined by the swarms of flies.
What's different here?
It was only on Egypt.
Actually, well, it's all of Egypt, it says, but what caught my eye was, and Yahweh did so. Yahweh did it. He didn't have Aaron or Moses do anything. But like the second one, it says, let them go, or this is going to happen. He didn't say that every time, did he? All right. Thank you. Cattle disease, Mr. Herdsman, if you heard me.
And Yahweh said to Moshe, Go into Pharaoh and speak to him. Thus said Yahweh Elohim of the Hebrews, Let my people go, so that they serve me. For if you refuse to let them go, and are still holding them, see, the hand of Yahweh is on your livestock in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the cattle, and on the sheep, a very grievous pestilence. And Yahweh shall separate between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Mitzrayim, and let no matter die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. And Yahweh set an appointed time, saying, Tomorrow Yahweh is going to do this word in the land. And Yahweh did the word on the next day, and all the livestock of Mitzrayim died. For the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died.
Okay, so what's different here? What's the
Well,
same? What's the same?
He told him to go tell Pharaoh,
Mm-hmm.
let him go or else.
He also said again, the God of the Hebrews, let him go or else, yeah.
And none of the Israel,
Yes,
the Egyptian livestock died.
right. We need those livestock for Israel because they will have sheep and animals needed in the wilderness and for the temple ultimately, won't it? Okay, boils. Who's got boils?
Okay.
Honey?
Then Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, take handfuls of soot from the furnace, and have Moses throw it heavenward in the sight of Pharaoh. It will become fine dust over all the land of Egypt, and will become boils erupting with sores on both men and animals throughout all the land. So they took soot from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh. When Moses threw it heavenward, it became boils erupting with sores on both men and animals.
A little bit more.
Moreover, the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, because they were on the magicians as well as on all the Egyptians.
Okay. What's same and what's different there?
The boils were on the people and on the animals.
Yes.
That's interesting. And
What
why-
animals were that?
They,
Poor animals.
they went back to having Moses and Aaron do something.
Yes. In fact, what did he say to Pharaoh though? This is your second one where nothing is said. He just does it right from, hey Pharaoh. Hi. Okay?
Hey David, before
Yes.
we get off of that verse,
Yes.
I never asked this question because we live in the north, but what furnace?
Oh.
I mean, it doesn't say oven, it says furnace.
Oh.
So is that possibly, like a smelting furnace where they would have
Oh.
maybe made their idols?
I don't know.
I never thought of that till today.
Huh.
While we're on that,
Yes.
there was an interesting point that I had learned about this verse from doing research for my book. When it says the magicians could not stand before Moses, they couldn't stand before Pharaoh either. So what was happening is if they were imperfect because of the boils and the different things, they could not do their priestly duties. So it knocked them out of serving the false gods completely.
Hmm. All right, and then hail. Hail, hail.
And the Lord
Hail,
said,
not Vesuvius. Hail, Olivia. Sorry, go ahead.
Then the Lord said to Moses, get up early in the morning and confront Pharaoh and say to him, this is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they may worship me. Or this time I will send the full force of my place against you and against your officials and your people, so you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For by now I could have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with a plague that would have wiped you off the earth. But I have raised you up for this very purpose, that I might show you my power and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. You still set yourself against my people, and will not let them go. Therefore at this time tomorrow I will send the worst hailstorm that has ever fallen on Egypt, from the day it was founded till now, to give an order now to bring your livestock and everything you have in the field to a place of shelter, because the hail will fall on every person and animal that has not been brought in and is still out in the field, and they will die. Those officials of Pharaoh who feared the word of the Lord hurried to bring their slaves and their livestock inside. But those who ignored the word of the Lord left their slaves and livestock in the field. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards the sky, so that hail will fall all over Egypt, on people and animals, and on everything growing in the fields of Egypt. When Moses stretched out his hand towards the sky, the Lord sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed down to the ground. So the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt.
Good. Right there. That's good. Unfortunately, pride got in his way. And this is where I want to stop just for a moment and ask ourselves the questions, where are we like Pharaoh? All right. Let's now, I will show you what I put down. Doink. This is pretty basic. Now, here, let's go. Olivia read something there that I want to have from another translation, for I was not satisfied. Verse 14, chapter 9, verse 14. What translation do you have? NIV, that's fine. Does anyone have a translation other than NIV? Would you read the first part of verse 14, chapter 9? Sure.
For at this time I am sending all my plagues unto your heart, and on your servants, and on your people,
That's good.
Okay.
Anybody else have to your heart? To your very heart. Oh, this is New King James. He's got very heart. What's he saying there? I mean, it's like Yahweh putting his hands on the edge of the cloud and looking down in the face of Pharaoh and saying, I care for you this much. Then I'm going to hurt you at the core so you will understand you're not everything here, but I am, and I'm giving you the chance to come and worship me. All right, let's go on to the reaction now. Blood. Who's got the blood? Oh, David, you have the blood. We're going to go back now to chapter 7, kind of where we left off, verse 14. 14, so 2:24. I kind of hope you... Okay, see there we are. Yeah, start in 22, would you?
Yeah. Then the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them, as Yahweh had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house. Neither was his heart moved by this.
Okay. So the reaction there is we got magicians who do the same thing. And who hardens Pharaoh's heart there? According to that wording? Is it Yahweh, or is it, because earlier it said Yahweh is going to harden his heart. Pharaoh hardened his heart in this passage. Yes?
I've written a note in here that the magicians could duplicate, but they couldn't originate.
Oh. Wow. My flesh wants to rise up and make a political joke here. But I will pause and say that is like the enemy, isn't it? He puts up a good fake because he has nothing to entice us of the but something off the original. I love Snickers bars. Okay, moving on. Frogs. Frogs. Who's got frogs?
Oh, I had frogs.
Yes. It's just hard to eat straight dirt. Straight just cocoa powder, right? Because I don't think mankind was made to eat cocoa powder without a little bit of sugar in it or something. All right, sorry, go ahead, Mariama.
Where do you want
Well, verse 25, let's see, that's where we start. Okay, we're going to go down to, so start in verse 7, would you? Chapter 8, verse 7.
And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs on the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and said, Entreat Yahweh that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to Yahweh. And Moses said to Pharaoh, Accept the honor of saying when I shall intercede for you, for your servants, and for your people.
And jump down to verse 13.
So Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. They gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart and did not heed them, as Yahweh had said.
Okay, so what was the result here? That's interesting, isn't it? He says, entreat Yahweh for me. This is only the second plague. And he's already, why does he say that if his own magicians can duplicate, do you think? Because they
When-
couldn't take it back, could they?
Yeah, when
Everybody
frogs
can
are
spill it.
piled in heaps, I can't even imagine that. You may be able to make a frog or to recreate a frog, but that's something else. Like I think whatever the magicians did to kind of duplicate this, they could not do it on a country-wide scale like
Right.
this was.
Again, not origination.
Mm-hmm.
I find it interesting that the mess that Yahweh is making for them, and then the magicians said, we're even going to make it a greater mess for you.
Yeah.
We're going to make more. We're going to bring more upon you. Well, I don't understand. Is that supposed to be a good thing? Wouldn't you think if the magicians were so great that they would take them away
Mhm.
Right.
instead of bringing more upon them in
Right.
some of the plagues?
Yeah.
Well, each of these plagues were to attack certain deities of the Egyptians. And the Egyptians want to say, well, we are just as powerful. If your God can do this, our gods can also do this. So that was the point that they were trying to prove.
But they couldn't take him away because you don't want to rebuke your God, even if he does look like a frog. Seth, ready, mister? We are going to 8:16. So now, chapter 8, verse 18. Would you? Oh, actually, very quick, Mariama, who hardened Pharaoh's heart in verse 15?
Pharaoh.
Okay. All right, Seth, go ahead. 18.
The magicians tried with their enchantments to produce lice, but they couldn't. There were lice on man and on animal. Then the magicians said to Pharaoh, "This is God's finger."
Ooh, that's
but
new.
Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he didn't listen to them, as the Lord had spoken.
Boom. Okay. So there really wasn't much here, was it? He didn't ask, please take him away. Moses didn't say, okay, I'm going to take him away at a certain time. It just simply, there they were. And, okay, I'm not moved. I guess the guy lived around flies a lot or something, built a tolerance. In my translation, it says, but Pharaoh's heart grew hard. It's not that he hardened it. And when I looked at Blue Letter Bible, it looked like that's how it described it. It was in a state of hardened. Does anybody have a different translation there in verse 19? But Pharaoh's heart grew hard. Would it appear like there was an outside force, either Pharaoh's will or Yahweh?
What chapter?
Chapter 8, verse 19.
Mine says Pharaoh's heart was strengthened.
Strengthened, yeah. Vulcanized or firmed up in this, which is something for us to remember about ourselves. If we see it. We see it in others, and we fight with it in ourselves. When there's something that we're resisting, and he's telling us point blank, at some point you either get sick and tired of being sick and tired, or you continue to harden and callous or close your ears and say, I can't hear you. Okay? Let us not do that, because he's giving us every opportunity. Okay. Flies. Flies, melody. Melody flies. How does melody fly? Chapter 8:20. Okay. Good. Start in verse 25.
Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, "Go, sacrifice to your God in the land." Moses said, "It isn't appropriate to do so, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our God. Behold, if we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, won't they stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God, as he shall command us."
So it's almost like a setup, isn't it? He's saying, well, all right, I'll let you do it, but you got to do it here. Why? You people worship what we kill and eat. Keep going, would you?
Moses said, "Behold, I am going out from you. I will pray to
the Lord that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. Only don't let Pharaoh deal deceit. Oh, I forgot. And then Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that you may sacrifice to the Lord your God. Oh, no, I did that. I'm so sorry. Only don't let Pharaoh deal deceitfully anymore in not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. Moses went out from Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord. The Lord did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also, and he didn't let the people go.
Sheesh. Okay. That's flies. Cattle disease. Mr. Longhorn.
Oh,
9, where are you starting? 9, verse 7. Mhm.
Let's see.
No, 7, certain 7.
7. Then Pharaoh sent, and see, not even one of the livestock of Israel was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go.
Let's think about that for a minute. Who in Pharaoh's mind is God number 1? Right. So, and if we know that from that previous screen, it was specific cows and a specific bull that were worshipped. We know that in some Eastern religions, that's our ancestors. But if number 1 is what's important, well, they're dead anyway. We don't disrespect the dead. Those are the ones that brought down to us the Torah in one capacity or another. I'm very thankful for what my father gave me, for what his father gave him. And, you know, it's almost like it doesn't affect him, or he won't let it affect him. And who hardened his heart there? That was verse 7.
It said the heart of Pharaoh was hardened.
Yeah, so it's another one of those passive. Okay, go ahead, Holly, in verse 11.
Moreover, the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, because they were on the magicians as on all Egyptians. But Adonai hardened the heart of Pharaoh, so he did not listen to them, just as Adonai had said to Moses.
Very short. Just that. This time, who hardened Pharaoh's heart? According to the way it's written. Yeah, Adonai. That's the first. Okay, let's go to Hail.
And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said unto them, I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Entreat Yahweh, for there hath been enough of these mighty thunderings and hail. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. And Moses said unto him, As soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto the Lord. The thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know that the earth is the Lord's. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that you will not fear Yahweh God. And the flax and the barley were smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in bloom.
That's good. So what happened there? Individuals, as we noted earlier, some who feared the word of Yahweh said, I'm not going to lose my capital. Let's get the animals inside, and let's get inside. Those without a reverence for the value of life, both in animal and then the human. It's a little low there, isn't it? Sorry. And what does Pharaoh say this time? I have sinned. And yet, he hardens his heart again. Isn't that something?
And he didn't really mean that when he said I have sinned.
Shh. All right, we're going to go to the Torah closing.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why does the Torah portion stop after 7? Why doesn't it just finish out the play?
Yes. And usually, the Torah portion will not try to end on a sour note, at least towards Israel. The last one, it was Pharaoh said, don't come back and go find your own grain and keep the quota up. That would have been a horrible place to stop. So the rabbi said, let's go one more verse. And that's where Yahweh says, Now we get down to business. And you're going, ooh, let's get on to the next chapter. You know, it's like a page-turner thriller thing. But this one, I don't know. Unless it is, for what wisdom, they had to then save the final plague with, not put them in one package. I don't know. Dennis, did you ever read anything as far as why this is split here? 7 plagues and then 3?
Not the Torah portions, but why the Bible chapters we have are split is a completely different reason, but I don't know about the portions.
Yes. Let us read this together. We are not done with our study yet, but we are close. All together. Blessed are you, Yahweh our Elohim, King of the universe, who has given us a Torah of truth and has planted eternal life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the